Breaking news around the clock. One station making history every day. Chicago's talk leader, 89 WLS.
.37. Halfway home here, Awake with Jake. Here at the 8 o'clock when Paul Bryan gets here with Drive Chicago. The sun. The sun is, I looked outside, the sun is so beautiful as it comes up over the lake. You know what time? It's time for Dr. Bob.
Well, Jake, I make up girls all the time.
There's a pain where there once was a heart.
2 B's, 1 L.
It's sleeping.
Good morning, Dr. Bob.
Hey, Jake, it's kind of tough. You hit me with that thing right there in the morning. I was just trying to court a girl. I sent her flowers, asked her out, blah, blah, blah. And she totally rejected me. I tell you, it makes it tough to drive through the drive-through anymore and see her when she hands me my coffee in the morning.
I understand.
Yeah.
All right, we got medical stuff.
No.
I know. It amazes me, too. I'm going to try to get 2 of them in. The first one is, and this comes out of a lawsuit. There was a man, he was 31 years old, father of 2.
I know all about lawsuits. So
okay.
I'll go down that. Yeah.
He visited a cardiologist, complaining of, quote, increasing episodes of new chest pain that radiated into his arm, unquote. Okay? The cardiologist determined that the man was at a high risk of having clogged heart arteries.
Uh-huh.
He ordered a nuclear stress test to be done 8 days later.
8 days later?
Yeah. First of all, what kind of test is that?
Well, they give you a radioactive isotope and exercise you a little bit or give you a chemical to speed your heart up. And then they use a kind of like a modified Geiger counter to see how the distribution is in your heart. And any place where blood doesn't go in the heart muscle, where you have decreased perfusion, like a problem, a clogged artery, it'll have a cold spot or a black spot on the scan. So it's a pretty sensitive test for a screening test. It's one of the most sensitive stress type tests without doing a catheterization.
Is it expensive?
Expensive? I don't know. I think they charge the insurance company about $3,000 or $4,000.
Whoa!
But the insurance company probably pays about $1,000 for it. So. Well, I mean.
Now, asking him to wait 8 days to take the test is that unusual?
If he's 37 and he's having angina like that,
he was 31. He was 31.
No, that's not acceptable. It should be done within 24 hours. It should be done that day, really, or the next day.
Well, he never made the nuclear stress test.
Hence the lawsuit.
Well, 1 day before the scheduled test, the man took a test of his own. Apparently, he engaged in a threesome where both he and a friend had sex with a woman who was not his wife. And he died afterwards.
Well, there you go. Was her name Nuclear?
$5 million.
He was awarded $5 million.
Yeah, the jury gave $5 million, and it finally ended up with $3 million net after the lawyers. Yeah.
Yeah, 8 days is not really acceptable, but that's kind of where we're heading anymore.
But on the other hand, where's the personal responsibility? If you got the pains in the chest going into the arms, should you be having a threesome with another guy and a woman who's not your wife?
Well, clearly the cardiologist failed to warn the person that
not to have threesomes.
If he engaged in a threesome, that he might be at risk for a heart attack.
Wow! But is the doctor also supposed to say, "Don't go mountain climbing"?
If somebody's got a bad hip, I tell my patients you should not engage in vigorous sexual activity. I tell every patient that before they leave the office. I mean, yeah.
Whether they should or not. But, I mean, it's just, I don't know. I mean, he has to bear some responsibility. Although at least he went out with a smile on his face.
I know of a case where a neurosurgeon friend of mine took care of a patient who was driving a vehicle. He was unrestrained. He had no seatbelt on. He was driving at a high rate of speed, and he was driving with alcohol on board about 3 times the legal maximum. The guy drove into a tree, and he was ejected from the car, went through the windshield, hit the tree, and he had a closed head trauma, and he had severe head injuries. Okay? And guess what happened? They sued the neurosurgeon for bad care afterwards because the guy had cognitive deficits and everything like that, and they wheel him in a wheelchair, and guess what happened? The neurosurgeon had his insurance company had to pay some out. It wasn't as much as they were asking for, but he did nothing wrong. But when you go into a court as a medical doctor, the 12 people sitting up there in the box or whatever, in the jury box, are not physicians. They're lay people. They're street people. And they're people that you see at McDonald's or out at Kohl's or at the supermarket. And
they're your neighbors.
And but they don't understand the whole complexity. They see somebody with an injury or somebody's dead, and it's got to be somebody's fault.
Yeah.
The poor guy was just doing threesome. And probably the lady that he was having sex with probably wasn't that attractive. And,
I don't know. Anyway, story number 2.
Yeah.
You know how people say there's this thing called old people smell?
No.
Have you ever heard that?
That's the wrong sense, Jake.
In a study published the other day, research report that young people aged 20 to 30 are able to accurately guess when a scent comes from an elderly individual aged 75 to 95. How about that?
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Here's what they did.
Now, who funded that study? Was that the government?
I have no idea who funded this.
That was probably a stimulus package
it says,
funded study.
In the study, this doctor and his colleagues sewed absorbent nursing pads into the armpits of T-shirts and asked volunteers of different ages to sleep in the shirts for 5 consecutive nights. The researchers divided the 44 volunteers into 3 groups, 8 women and 8 men between the ages of 20 and 30, the young, the same number of men and women between 45 and 55, the middle-aged, and 6 women and 6 men between 75 and 95, the elderly. During the day, the volunteers stored the T-shirts in sealed plastic bags, avoided spicy foods, cigarettes, and alcohol, and showered with odorless shampoo and soap.
Well, people who are older because of arthritis and such, they don't really... and I don't want to offend the older population of the Awake with Jake show, but a lot of people who are older, they take a bath maybe or a shower maybe once a week instead of once a day. It's not uncommon. So
now here's the interesting part of the survey.
Okay.
It says as men get older, they don't smell as much because they start to smell like women.
Probably because the decreased testosterone, increased estrogen balance that men get. So when you get low T, you smell less.
So it's good for you.
Low T?
Yeah. Because then you don't smell.
Yeah, but then you gain weight and you lose your muscle definition and you have low sex drive and stuff. And I guess that's good for you because if you have lower sex drive, you're not going to want to do a threesome. Hence, you're not going to die of a heart attack during a threesome.
No.
Did he die during the threesome?
Right after.
Oh.
Timing is everything. I guess.
I guess so. He endured the marathon and then he collapsed after he crossed the finish line.
I'm surprised the other guy and the woman didn't sue, saying that because of what happened, they have mental anguish. They'll never be able to have a threesome again.
Yeah, I had a
can't put a price on that.
When I was a resident, there was a young woman and young man, and the young woman and man were engaged in amorous activities. They were married, and he was laying on his back on the bed, and she was kind of sitting almost, like riding a seesaw kind of thing. And she had in the midst of deep amorous passion, she had a subarachnoid hemorrhage or, bleed in her brain. And she screamed because it's very, very painful. And she was like 31, he was like 34. She screamed and then collapsed, and he had a heart attack based on the scream and everything. So it's a delicate time.
And who calls 911?
He did. She actually ended up dying, and
he was able to make the call even though he had a heart attack. Yeah.
Yeah.
With that, I need to say goodbye, Dr. Bob.
Well, have a wonderful day, everybody. Don't snort any bath salts. It's bad for you.
You know what? That's what they said with the guy that ate the face.
Yeah.
It was because of the bath salts. And think about this: until they banned the bath salts, nobody ever did that before. And now that they banned it, now it's happening. What does that tell you?
Well, they're not really banned yet.
They're discouraged.
And they're not really bath salts. They call them bath salts, but there's no danger to taking a bath with regular bath salts.
Are you sure?
Well, yes, I'm pretty sure.
Because I'd hate to take a bath and then want to eat someone's face off.
Yeah, people should not take baths before they go to cocktail parties.
Take care, Dr. Bob.
Bye.
There he goes. I don't know what's good for you, bad for you anymore. But we have confirmed there is old people smell. There's a lot more goes into it. 6:48, Awake with Jake, right here on 89 WLS.
One station making history every day. 89.
I want to call you out.
Tell the truth. So informative.
What a great show. You're naive. You are a rock star American, my friend.
We love it.
Get over
We
it.
need more information. I have a beef with that.
That is a good question. Love listening. Appreciate it. Everyone in this nation should listen. Why would you bother listening to anybody else?
This is Chicago's talk leader. 89 WLS.
Right now at Pearl Vision, when you buy a pair of glasses, we'll give you a second pair free, up to $250. That's 2 pairs for the price of 1. Because we know these days every dollar counts. But that doesn't mean you should neglect taking care of your eyes. Sight shouldn't feel like an extravagance. It is, after all, life's greatest sense. Which is why we're offering this great buy one, get one free deal. So whether you need a new prescription, a backup pair of glasses, or just a different look, there's no better time to come to Pearl Vision. Visit pearlvision.com to find the store nearest you. With so many convenient locations, it's easy to find one in your neighborhood. The Pearl Vision buy one, get one free offer ends soon. So hurry in today for your free pair. Pearl Vision. Clearly different.
Second pair value up to $250. Valid prescription required. Valid only at participating U.S. locations. See store for details. Some restrictions apply. Offer ends 6/30/2012.
You've reached the Hilton Honors Great Getaway Sale Hotline. Press any key to save up to 40% at participating hotels. To trade your insane schedule for a beach towel at the Hilton, press 1. To trade your morning commute for breakfast in bed at the Waldorf Astoria or Conrad, press 2. If you forgot about your friend's wedding and want to stay at the DoubleTree instead of your in-laws' couch, press 3. To escape to a Hilton Garden Inn or Hampton where annoying email can't find you, press 4. To gloat about your getaway at the Hilton Grand Vacations until your friends dislike you, press 5. To turn every weekend into a 3-day weekend at the Homewood Suites or Home 2 Suites, press 6. To play Mary Had a Little Lamb, press 3575333. To save up to 40% at participating hotels, visit HiltonGetaways.com or call 866-842-3335.
Book before July 23rd, 2012 and stay at participating hotels by September 30th, 2012. Subject to availability. Additional terms apply. Visit HiltonGetaways.com for complete details.
When Concordia University men's basketball coach Tyler Jones was diagnosed with prostate cancer, he turned to the CDH Proton Center, a ProCure center.
When my doctor told me last year, it was surreal. But I researched every treatment option and learned quickly that proton therapy was the way to go.
So you went to the CDH Proton Center, a ProCure center.
I did, right there in the western suburbs. It was close. It turned out to be perfect for me.
Proton therapy is a cutting-edge treatment, and it's Medicare approved. Plus, it causes less damage to surrounding healthy tissue, reducing the risk of side effects like incontinence and erectile dysfunction.
That was really important to me. I didn't have to sacrifice my lifestyle during the treatment.
And the treatments, they're quick, right?
Very. In and out in an hour. I went to the treatment in the morning morning, and by the afternoon, I was working out and focusing on my team.
Sounds like the CDH Proton Center, a ProCure center, was extremely helpful.
I could not have asked for a better experience.
For more information on proton therapy, visit procure.com or call 630-821-6388.
Email Mom and Dad. Guys, I have a deal for you.
Dragon speech recognition software from Nuance brings ideas to life.
I've always wanted to see the Walt Disney Studios.
And now Dragon will show one lucky family how the Walt Disney Studios brings ideas to life.
Take me, and I'll never ask for anything ever again. Delete never. Almost never.
Enter Dragon's Ultimate Backlot Pass sweepstakes, and your family could go behind the scenes at the Walt Disney Studios. Visit getdragon.com for details. No purchase necessary.
News from across the country and around the world is moments away with an ABC News update on 89 WLS and WLSAM.com.
It's the time of the season when love runs high. In this time, give it to me easy.
6:53.
And let me
You can name the group singing this. You have too much time in your hands.
to take you in the sun.
Jake Hartford here on 89 WLS, here until 8 o'clock. Then it's Paul Bryan with Drive Chicago. You talk about strange stories. This is going to be one of the strangest stories I've seen in a long time. Have you heard of Detroit? You know where Detroit is? I've been to Detroit. Good friend Les Gold from Hardcore Pawn. You watch on True TV. He's up there. Linda Mitri, who years ago did traffic with me here and did the show with me. She's living up there. Got married, living up there. She just had twins about a month ago. Yeah, I forgot to mention it. So anyway, I'm reading this story. There's a park up there. I'm not that familiar with Detroit, so I don't know where Palmer Park is. But this beautification group came in, and they planted these apple trees in Palmer Park. These little apple trees, a few feet high. And the neighbors of the park are all upset. They want the trees removed. They're afraid of rodents coming from the apple trees. They're concerned about their property values. They say, we want to live next to a park. We're not a farming community. Detroit has 100,000 vacant lots. And here's a park with trees. I don't know. Last time I drove down Lakeshore Drive, went past Grand Park, I saw a lot of trees. They have trees in parks. They have more trees in forest preserves, in the forest. But the neighbors want the trees taken down. How do you petition that? Only in Detroit. Yeah, we need to take those trees you just planted. We need to take those out. And they're apple trees. They're going to look nice, and eventually you'll have apples. You'll have something to eat. Looks good, you can eat. How many things could you say that about? That looks good and you can eat, huh? Scott in Knox, Indiana.
Hi, good morning, Jake.
How are you?
Good. First thing, rodents don't come from apple trees. That would be spontaneous generation, and that was ruled out, I think, in the 1800s or something like that.
Well, they say if you have apple trees, rodents will be hanging around.
Anyways, I was wondering, I haven't heard you give any reports. You were supposed to have some protest signs up during the NATO summit.
Yes, I had some people. I had some people out with them where they said they had whatever their little message was on top, and the bottom said, "Jake Hartford did this to me."
Did you get on television? I think you stated that was one of your goals.
I did not see all the coverage, so I don't know. It could have been. I don't know. I couldn't watch everything.
Maybe we could bring the NATO summit back one more time and give it a second try.
No, we're gonna do the Super Bowl. Because it's not cold enough in February. It doesn't snow enough in February.
Jake Hartford, 316?
No, Jake Hartford, gone 7:59. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Jake.
God. I had trouble with my bank. I had somebody use my debit card fraudulently. Got a new card. Supposed to get a new card. And it didn't come, so I called the bank. And they ask you security questions. You know what kind of security questions they're asking me? Check number 4,822. How much was that for? I don't know. Your last deposit, when was it, and what was the exact amount to the penny? I don't know. Then I said, give me something else. He said, we can only ask you 2 questions. So I asked for a supervisor. Get me a supervisor. They asked me the 3rd question. What was the exact date you opened the deposit, your account, made a deposit? I have no idea. If the security was that good to begin with, the thief never would have got into my account. Yeah, a little bit too late. Anyway, more to come. 1 more hour to go on Awake with Jake right here on 89 WLS.
89 WLS.